It is my honor to moderate this panel on protecting critical infrastructures in the Black Sea. And for this, I need the help of four gentlemen. I will start with Mr. Sorin Moldovan, who is the Secretary of State for Defense Policy, Planning and International Relations. Welcome, Mr. Moldovan. Admiral Mihai Panait, the commander of the Romanian Naval Forces. Mr. Oscar Rojas, who is the President of Global Operations for Ocean Aero. Welcome. And Mr. Dragoș Manea, also an Aspen Fellow, as Mr. Moldovan, who is political expert at NATO. Welcome, gentlemen. Our panel will be shorter because apparently technology is supposed to help things be smoother and work faster, but the panel on technology took longer than expected. So I'm not going to start with the elephant in the room, or should I say the drone in the room, because it is my understanding that this morning there was a conversation about drones, but I would like to start on making some points. When we talk about critical infrastructures in the Black Sea, we mean not only major transportation corridors, ports and shipping lanes, but also offshore energy assets such as gas platforms and pipelines, and also subsea communications and energy cables. The systems are fundamental to regional economic stability and energy security, but they are becoming increasingly exposed to hybrid threats, physical sabotage, but also disinformation campaigns. Bearing all this in mind, I will start by asking a question to Mr. Moldovan. There was the NATO meeting summit in The Hague, and my question is, what are NATO's defense plans after the Hague summit? And what are the chances for Romania to host the future Black Sea Maritime Security Hub as part of the EU strategy?
Thank you, Anna. Good afternoon. Well, if we're talking about what happened at the NATO summit in Hague, we should look a bit about what happened at the NATO at the adoption of the plans, defense plans that were adopted at Vilnius NATO summit, because basically that's where it all started, and that will remain the core of the NATO's deterrence and posture plan, and also defense, of course. The NATO summit in Hague was, I believe, in my opinion, it was the most ambitious plan that NATO had, and I believe Deputy Secretary General Joanna can say if it's like this or not, but I don't know other decisions that NATO took until this summit to be the most ambitious one. 5% of the GDP for all members to allocate for defense budgets. I believe in Romania supported this decision, and also the splitting 3.5% for defense spending and then 1.5% also for infrastructure, critical infrastructure, military infrastructure for the member states. So I believe Romania demonstrated in the last years that is a trustful partner, and we will allocate until 2035 as we decided to go to 5%. We allocated 2% of the GDP for the last 7 years now. And of course, I believe also that for each member state it's a bit different, because we are at the border with the war, at the door with the war, as you say. The war is here. We are very close. So Poland, Romania, this is one reality, and Spain, for example, or Portugal are a bit further, or other allies and member states. So that's why we are very glad to have a better presence in the region and a stronger presence also here in Romania. The more we allocate, of course, we have economic difficulties, not only Romania, every allied, every member state has, especially now. But unfortunately, the times that we are living is that we need to spend more money on defense, whether we like it or not. Because you cannot have good schools, good hospitals, good infrastructure if you don't have security. You cannot have economic growth if you don't have security. So the most important one, I believe, it's security spending, defense spending. And of course, this raises also questions about some part of the society. As you know, all countries have this part that are having a part of society that are against defense spending, but we should go on that. On the second question, because it's a bit related with this, because I want to go to the Black Sea. Since the war in Ukraine started, we have problems in the Black Sea because, for example, mines. They don't mind the frontiers, the borders. A mine can go, and this here, Mr. Panelists can explain, and they are dealing with this every day. Mines don't care that it's Romanian waters or Bulgarian waters or Ukrainian waters. And this is very dangerous for civilian navigation, for all kinds of navigation, not only military navigation, also for the population. I believe last year or 2 years ago, at the beginning of the war, we had a mine that exploded at the shore, if I remember correctly. So it's very important to have this. So regarding, you asked me about the Black Sea Maritime Security Hub. As you know, Romania would like to host this, the Black Sea Maritime Security Hub. Our president, Nicu Șordan, stated this at the meeting with President von der Leyen a few weeks ago, and we, through our president, we told the European Commission that we are ready to host this. We will do all the necessary things that need to be done, whether we are talking about diplomatic engagement or military engagement for this to happen, because we are in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs right now. So this is one thing that we need to count on, especially on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So I don't want to be longer with my response, but we need to ensure with everything that the Black Sea does not become a Russian lake. And in order to do that, we need to allocate more money for defense budget to spend, but spend it wisely, not just to spend it or to put it on paper and do not spend it. And also to have a better cooperation and coordination between the member states. Because in my opinion, and I'll finalize with my answer here, in my opinion, NATO, at the beginning of the war in Ukraine, NATO from the beginning of the war in Ukraine, it's not the same NATO that is today. We learned things since the war started. I believe this war made us more stronger and made us work more closely together. And I believe that NATO from today, it's much stronger than NATO was in 2022. And I don't think Putin thought about that when he started the war. So basically, it united us. It didn't put us apart. And Mr. Jonathan knows this very good, I believe. I was also, as you, because we were colleagues in the parliament, we were at the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, and you can see that from meeting to another meeting that NATO was getting stronger and stronger and better. And I believe we need to go on that. And the NATO summit in Hague and the decisions taken there, and if we are going to apply those decisions, because this is also a challenge that we need to do, so we need to apply those challenges, those decisions, 5% for the GDP. If we do that, by 2035, nobody can beat us.
Yes, because it has been proven that economic development is strongly related to security. Admiral Panait, building on what Undersecretary Moldovan stated about the Black Sea, for sure, since the illegal invasion in Ukraine, Black Sea is for sure the most turbulent sea in the world, we might say. It's even more complicated here than in other Asian parts. But my question is, how safe is the Black Sea for critical infrastructure projects? And until we have a decision about the maritime security hub, what are the other cooperation projects that Romania is involved in, both at the EU and NATO level?
Thank you so much for your question. First of all, I would like to start to thank you for Aspen Institute of Romania. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for this invitation and for the opportunity to present in front of you some aspects about the Black Sea security issue. The second, I would like to underline and congratulate you for this format. It's so important in order to have this kind of format to discuss about the security, to discuss about the Black Sea from the Navy perspective is so important. And I would like to underline that last week we organized together with the 6th Fleet in Constanța Black Sea Riverine Navy Commanders Conference. Is the third time, the third edition organized in Constanța. First edition was hosted by us in 2023. We have another important conference, is the Black Sea Maritime Forum. We organized this forum together with the Joint Force Command from Naples, and I would like to underline that it was an initiative from the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Petrescu. I have seen the General here inside, and we already built this important framework inside the Ministry of Defense, and it's so important to bring other important actors like Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Aspen Institute in this discussion. Speaking about the security of the Black Sea, we have a lot of risk in our area of responsibility, and the most important risk, the most important danger is the drifting mines. Today we have already 136 mines discovered and destroyed in accordance with our informations collected by the public information. We destroyed in our area of responsibility 7 drifting mines by the Navy EOD team. The second important risk, the second important danger is the drones. We already discovered and destroyed 3 surface drones with ammunition on board. And the third is the aerial drones. We know very well today we have more than 27 incidents. That means part of Russian drones fall down in our territory in the Danube Delta area of responsibility. We have this kind of risk. We cannot eliminate the risk from the area, speaking about the critical infrastructure. But through our measurements, we can reduce this kind of risk. And we put in place a lot of measurements. We are working every day and every night. Our Secretary of Defense told you about this kind of important threats. We are trying to, first of all, we are trying to develop the understanding of the institutions, of the economic operators, in order to understand the risk. We already established some recommended routes in our area of responsibility in order to conduct our skippers, our economic operators through this kind of recommended routes in order to reduce the risk for the ships, for the commercial vessels. It's not so easy because we are talking about today more than 11,000 ships, 11,000 vessels, commercial vessels already transited our area of responsibility from north to south or from south to north. Speaking about the grain corridor after 2022. After July 2022, we already have this number of ships. It's a big number. That means we already made, we can say in this way, we made a very good job in our area of responsibility. We are involving every day and night with 11 ships, 11 military ships, 3 𝐏𝐫𝐤𝐧, Puma Naval 𝐏𝐫𝐤𝐧. We have another 4 ships from the Romanian Coast Guard, and we have the support from European Union and NATO capabilities, speaking about the maritime patrol aircraft, for example, from Turkish Naval Forces, from 𝐾𝐽𝐬𝐺, from the French fleet, from the Med-Sea, and speaking about the 1 P8 Poseidon from the 6th Fleet. It's not an easy job. We are working a lot in an intensive, very intensive battle rhythm together with our partners in order to try to keep safe the Black Sea area, speaking about the Romanian Navy area of responsibility. In this way, we developed from last year a trilateral initiative between Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey. And in this kind of trilateral initiative, next to the national commitment and national missions, we are trying to keep the Black Sea in a very good shape, to keep the freedom of navigation in a very good shape for this period of time. For the future is not an easy task, and in this way, we are trying to develop the framework to discuss in order to find the best solutions. Speaking about the last conference from last week, we are trying to find the best solution, for example, speaking about the demining operation after the war in the Black Sea. And we have very good experience from the Second World War in the Black Sea. We still have the historical minefield in our area of responsibility after the Second World War. And from my perspective, after the war, it will be a very, very challenging for the NATO, for the European Union, or for the United Nations in order to find the best solution to have the clearance in this field. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the useful information that you have given us. And it's good to know that the Black Sea is safer than we thought. Discussing about a safer Black Sea, I'm very happy to have Mr. Rojas on this panel because it's important to look at things also from a business perspective. When we say Black Sea in Romania, we usually think of Neptun Deep, but there's also the Sakarya project in Turkey. There are also communication cables. We're talking about the project of building an electricity cable, undersea cable, linking Georgia to Constanța and then to the rest of the EU. So Mr. Roja, from a business perspective, and your company is in the business of ensuring that seas are safer. How safe is the Black Sea, and how, if there are issues to be improved and challenges to be overcome?
So thank you so much, Anna Maria, for the question, and also, sir, thank you so much for the invitation to be here. It's an honor to be on the stage with such amazing panel members, and also with you today in the audience. I will tell you from our perspective, I'm not going to tell you how much safer the Black Sea is, because I think Admiral Panay has already done that for us. And he truly bears the heavy weight of the freedom of navigation in the Black Sea, especially within Romania's territorial waters and economic exclusion zone. However, I will tell you that from Ocean Aero, we produce the world's most advanced maritime robot. It floats on the water, and then within seconds, dives down and becomes an unmanned submarine. It's all solar-powered and wind-powered. So it can stay out at sea for 30 to 45 days on the surface, or dive down underwater and stay underwater for 8 days, monitoring critical underwater infrastructure. We started out supporting industry, primarily the offshore oil and gas industry. And today we are supporting a oil company in Guyana and monitoring the world's longest gas pipeline. So, in providing that information real time. So when Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine began in 2022, it wasn't just artillery shells that were the things that were set in motion. There were also shockwaves that traveled way beyond the Donbass trenches and also Kyiv skyline. It was in the Black Sea. And it traveled through those corridors and through the fiber optic nerves that connected all economies in the world. So at that time, Ocean Aero did a case study. When I used to be in the military, it's called preparation of the environment. But we did a business case study to see where the opportunities lied for industry to work in hand with other partners within industry, but also government and defense. And we identified 3 areas, and this is what they were. The 3 areas that are of increasing hybrid threat are, and we talked about Turkey's 𝐒𝐫𝐬𝐧 and Romania's Neptune Deep offshore projects, high threat area, based on the environment that is created in the Black Sea right now. The emerging renewable energy corridors that are meant to anchor Europe's green transition, right? That is that threat. And then also, finally, the undersea cables that carries 95% of the world's communication. It's not satellites in the skies, it's sea cables that carry 95% of that data. So we'll start off with the offshore gas. Only 3 years ago, the discovery of Sakarya, Turkey's largest domestic field, and long-delayed approval of Neptune Deep, which by 2027, Neptune Deep will go in full production, which will make Romania the epicenter of energy production. That is an amazing, remarkable achievement, but it also, with it comes great risk. So together with Turkey and Romania's gas production, they will supply nearly 15 billion cubic meters of gas per year. This equals Bulgaria, Greece, and Serbia's combined demand. Think about that. Amazing opportunity. But the platform pipelines are also stationary. They're not going anywhere. Therefore, the drifting mines that appear on Romania's coast last spring, the Russian cruise missiles that struck Odessa's gas infrastructure, and the high-altitude drones that periodically detect over western Black Sea are vivid reminders that offshore energy is no longer sheltered by distance. Distance is no longer a way to protect yourself. The adversary, in this case, Russian aggression, can reach out and touch you no matter where you're at. Additionally, the infrastructure that is undersea, under the water, has increased insurance premiums for the offshore oil and gas companies. In some cases, the insurance policies have quadrupled in price. So those costs are passed on to the consumers, therefore making energy, in many cases, unaffordable to the common person within our societies. The second risk is the energy corridors that move wind power by cable from Georgia to Romania and then on to Hungary and Austria, or the planned 3 gigawatt Black Sea shore wind zone between Bulgaria and Romania. These projects are the cornerstone for European Union's Repower EU strategy. And they rest on a fragile maritime commons, a naval blockade, or GPS spoofing. And this is one of the things that we have not talked too much about today. The Black Sea is a contested environment, and it's not only contested militarily, but it's also being contested electronically. And it is creating some major impacts, not only on defense, but also on industry. The freedom of navigation depends on safe navigation. And when the environment is electronically jammed, it creates some major challenges. So these challenges can also create sustained disinformation campaigns that pits coastal communities against transmission lines, can delay or derail billions of clean energy investments. We have gone through so much to invest so much into clean green energy, but we could easily, through simple disinformation, derail all these efforts and backtrack on all these advancements that we have done. And finally, I just want to talk about the subsea cables that link Frankfurt to the Caucasus and onward to Asia. They are also enable Ukrainian battlefield connectivity and financial transactions that keep Moldova and Georgia economies afloat. Russia survey vessels, such as the 𝐾𝐫𝐦𝐧 and the Yantar, have been observed mapping cable routes with unusual precision. So something that seems so benign, these ships out there, this is called preparation in the environment. While today it may seem like steady state, and in this environment where they're surveying, there may not be this kind of conflict that we're seeing in Ukraine, but that's just the preparation in the environment of what's yet to come in the future if we're not careful in what we're doing. So in a crisis, cutting 2 or 3 of these nodes could black out the internet service from Sofia to Tbilisi and disrupt military command networks across NATO's eastern flanks. Unlike pipelines, damaged fiber depends on specialized repair ships that will take weeks to get on station to be able to perform these vital services. So we have hit the triple helix of the threat where energy security, climate policy, and digital resilience now all intersect in one place, and it's the seabed.
Yes, the Black Sea has become, in the last 3 years, this hub of different interests and different actors acting. Before I turn to Mr. Mana and see NATO's perspective on how safe is the Black Sea, I want to let you know that because we don't have that much time, we're going to take 2 or 3 questions from you, and then we'll have to wrap it up. But Mr. Mana, in a public statement, and I have to admit that I had to look a little bit to find it, Secretary General Rutte said that NATO takes the security of the Black Sea region very seriously. We are ready to assist, defend, and protect every member of the alliance. And indeed, beginning with November 2024, NATO reinforced its air defense systems in the Black Sea as a response to this threat. Is this enough, or are there signals at the level of the alliance that this reinforcement should be even stronger?
No, thank you so much. And it's always easy to agree with your boss, and especially when he's right, and especially when he's talking to something that it's very clear amongst allies. The strategic importance of the Black Sea, it's actually enshrined in our strategic concept. It has been mentioned, stated very clearly by allies in past summit communiques in Vilnius, in Washington, D.C. So there is no doubt, first of all, that NATO and NATO allies are prepared, are ready to defend any of the allies, and that the security of the Black Sea region matters, and it matters to Europe, and it matters to NATO, for the simple fact that whatever is happening in the Black Sea, it is affecting all of us. So our conclusion is that the alliance actually bears a responsibility of a collective responsibility for ensuring proper awareness and preparedness in the Black Sea. And we've discussed this, my predecessors actually mentioned what's been happening over the past few years in the Black Sea. Since 2022, NATO has, in response to Russia's war of aggression, NATO has significantly increased its presence in the Black Sea region, including with the two battle groups that we have, the French-led battle group in Romania and the Italian-led battle group in Bulgaria. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was lucky enough to be with our current Deputy Secretary General to a visit to the forward land forces in Bulgaria. I'm looking forward to the visit to Romania, to Cincu, as we are preparing to exercise the scaling up of the BG. But I must tell you, this is absolutely clear deterrence in action. This is how our military is very clearly demonstrating the credibility of our posture, including in the Black Sea region. And in addition to that, it is clear that NATO and allies have also stepped up our surveillance, our reconnaissance in the Black Sea region. And again, there should be no doubt about NATO's readiness to protect every one of the allies. Amiral Panait was mentioning the MCM Black Sea. We, as NATO, welcome very much the efforts by our allies, Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey, to increase exactly this, the safety and the freedom of navigation in the Black Sea through the MCM task force. These are very prudent, non-escalatory steps that are also very concretely actually showing that we have the capability and the resolve to defend every ally in the Black Sea region. And just to react to two of the statements before, indeed, the Hague Summit was a historical summit, not because we call it so such every time we have a summit, but because this time the allies have increasingly committed to spend 5%, to spend the money necessary for reaching the capability targets that are necessary for our posture. So I think that in itself should be a message of reassurance here. And this is something that made the Hague Summit truly, truly historic. And we also managed to do that, coming out of that summit with a message of unity, which was very clearly also mentioned by the Secretary General Rutte. Now, very quickly on the critical infrastructure in the Black Sea. Every time I talk to my colleagues in the specialized teams, they're telling me that the private sector, the cooperation with the private sector, it's something that is a must. And we've changed in NATO to this mindset already. There's a few years. I remember working with Deputy Secretary General Joanna exactly on this, and he's the one that's pushed the envelope very clearly on this in NATO. And now we've already shifted. We see in the MARCOM, and I'm happy that State Secretary Moldovan was there a few weeks ago for a visit. We have created a mechanism to work in an integrated way with private sector, and this applies not only to critical undersea infrastructure, but also to energy infrastructure, and there's a lot of thinking going on in NATO about this. So the partnership with the private sector, it's something critical for this moving ahead. Thank you.
Indeed, it's very important, and maybe, you know, when there's a crisis, there's also an opportunity. The fact that in this situation, the business environment and the public institutions are forced to work together is a good thing. Are there any questions from the audience? Two, please. And if you can also introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much for this very interesting discussion. So my name is 𝐂𝐫𝐤𝐺 and I work for the trade association that represents the defense industry. We're Brussels-based and we also look at naval. So actually I have a question for the Secretary of State. I was just wondering, what is Romania's plan, so to say, or like how do we plan to turn this European, like the European strategy on the Black Sea into an actionable plan? How do we, beyond the strategic, the maritime strategic hub, what's the plan there? Thank you.
In other words, how do we move from plans to implementation?
To concrete actions, right? Yeah, so of course, as you know, that Romania is already taken steps to do concrete stuff. We had this program that we signed with the UK, and we bought 2 demining hunters from our friends from United Kingdom. The first one also just arrived this year and is already in use. The second one, as far as I know, and maybe Admiral Panelists can confirm or not, it's by the end of this year, so November. Yeah, November we will have the second one. Then I believe 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, it was the approval in the parliament for the Turkish corvette that we are buying. That corvette is already built, done, so it can be entered in our forces in it's about months. We're talking about months. So these are some concrete steps that we are taking. As you know, the decision of the Turks to close the straits when the war started, it's still on force, this decision. Hopefully after, let's start like this, if or when we have a ceasefire or a frozen conflict or a decision between, an agreement between Russia and Ukraine, we hope to change this decision of the Turks and have some NATO forces as well in the Black Sea. So yeah, in these phases we did steps. I totally agree. We don't need to stay on papers and talk about strategies. We need to take actions. But what I can assure you is that we took actions. Some of them are public, some of them are not. And the team that Admiral Panelists is leading in the naval forces are doing a lot of actions and good stuff to keep the Romanian maritime region safe.
Admiral, anything to
If I may, yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Secretary of State. It's so important for us to put in place the motto, credibility comes with capabilities. From this point of view, we already made important steps in the last 4 years. We already signed important contracts in order to be ready to defend our country, to defend the Black Sea area. I would like to underline, secondly, we are not alone here. We are NATO and the European Union Navy. We are working together with our partners in this format. For example, today we have 1 frigate in the Med Sea under the Operation Sea Guardian, under the NATO flag. It's so important to keep this kind of contribution in this Euro-Atlantic engagement. In the first part of the year, we already did another important mission under the European Union flag, IRINI operation in the same area, in the Med Sea. At the same time, it's so important to use another instrument, speaking about the European Union, the SAFE, the Readiness 2030. In this program, we already prepare important elements, and we are in progress today with the Navy, with the Defense staff and the Ministry of Defense in order to put in place to obtain the approval from the European Union Commission. It's so important to develop our Navy. We have important endowment program. We try to go forward for the next 20, 30 years. We already have a very good plan. We tested this plan, we simulated, and we are trying to put in place today, step by step, every year, important programs for the Navy. We have to be integrated with our partners and allies. We have to be integrated with the national structures because today everything is joint and multi-domain. We have to work together with the land forces and air forces, even here in our area of responsibility, speaking about the Black Sea.
Thank you so much.
And also, just to sum up, also we are working very good with our partners from Bulgaria and Turkey as well in keeping the Black Sea safe. Because I see here the ambassador. Hello.
Yeah, and he's trying to ask a question, please.
Actually, just a little statement to supplement the discussion. Turkey, as you know, is a Black Sea country, and our shoreline is almost half the shoreline of Black Sea. We're a NATO ally. We are very committed. The security of Black Sea is very dear to us. We're also committed to Romania, our strategic partner, and not only in the military domain, but in every domain. Our partnership is uriaș, let's say in Romanian language. We're #1 customer of Port of Constanța. Anything that goes in and out from Constanța, 20% almost, is destination Turkey. So we're committed to our partnership in MCM Black, and the fact that we both have energy basins here, it also makes us natural allies, even if it wasn't for all the other reasons that we need to work together and protect together. We have one of the strongest fleets of NATO, and this is also protecting Black Sea. So Black Sea is no longer really a Russian lake, I can tell this, from a NATO perspective. So we're right there together with our allies. And the Montreux Convention, we're very committed to continue applying it. This is how the maritime area of the Black Sea was in relative stability despite the ongoing wars. And the paragraph 19 of this, it gives us the right, of course, to indicate that this is a war and keep all the warships out, including the Russian warships. More than 20 Russian warships are waiting outside because they have actually the legal rights to enter because they belong to the fleet of Black Sea. We kindly ask them not to do it. And I think this gave us a relative peace on the maritime land to continue all what we're doing. And I think this is only going to develop further. But what I want to say is that we're completely committed to Romania. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. And they kindly do what we're asking them to do. Before I pass the floor to Andrei, and I know that we're running a little bit late, I have just one last question, and I would like you to keep a very short answer. So if we are talking about protected critical infrastructure projects in the Black Sea, which is now the biggest threat, cyber attacks or physical threats? Mr. Mana?
I think at this point, NATO is ready to defend in all domain. I wouldn't be able to make a ranking about that. I think it's also for littoral allies to come up to the NATO table and also share their assessment, basically their assessment of the threat landscape in the Black Sea. What I can tell you right now is that, for example, with regard to critical undersea infrastructure, there is work undergoing in the military part of NATO to create this overlay for like a mapping exercise. So we are always investing in securing situational awareness for the Black Sea. So whatever the threat, we will be ready to respond to it.
Yes, indeed, the better mapping also leads to better solutions. Mr. Rojas?
So I'll keep it short. It's physical, primarily because of the reasons you stated. There is nothing that is fusing all this data together where we can share it with each other in a timely manner.
Admiral?
From my point of view, we have every day spoofing and jamming in our area of responsibility because we are here in the proximity of war. It's so difficult sometimes to understand the war. And from this point of view, it's so important for us to understand the importance of peace. And we have to fight with all partners in order to keep the balance in our area of responsibility. Speaking about the drones, for the air, surface, and submerged drones, it's so important to develop this system in order to protect our infrastructure, our critical infrastructure. In this field, I would like to mention that we already move forward in this field, and we organize every 2 years one exercise, OPEX EDT, in order to develop this kind of understanding, in order to put in practice important systems for the Navy, for our protection and to protect our critical infrastructure. It's not so easy. We are connected all the time with the MARCOM, with the NATO HQ and with the 6th Fleet HQ in order to share with them the recognized maritime picture, for example, from the Black Sea area, even to develop the all partnership and this important drone system, because from our point of view could be a very good solution for the Black Sea area, and we can understand better the lesson identified and lesson learned from the Russian-Ukrainian war in this field. We have together another important aspect I would like to present in front of you is the marine pollution, because today we have around 50 ships, commercial vessels and military vessels already sunk in the Black Sea. For the future could be another important risk next to the drifting mines and the drones. Thank you so much.
And thank you to you, Undersecretary.
I believe it's both, physical and cyber. Physical, obviously, because we discussed about this, and cyber, as the Admiral said, jamming. As the European Commission's plane a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, in this area was jammed, and they needed to do manually to look at the maps to navigate. So what happens in the air also happens in the Black Sea, in the maritime area as well. So I believe the correct answer, or if there is a correct answer, it would be both.
Thank you so much. Nobody asked, but my opinion is also that both. I would like to thank very much Undersecretary Moldovan, Admiral Panait, Mr. Rojas, Mr. Manea. Thank you so much for a wonderful conversation. I pass the floor to Andrei Secelan.